Hello, Joe Bogson here. Let's kick off December's tutorial. It's a few days before Christmas, and we're going to make a little map. Uh, First of all, let's just get a check on the audio. If someone is in the chat, they just kind of let me know if you can hear me properly. There's always seems to be a reduction in audio for some reason, and I nearly have to eat the mic. Uh, It's looking like it's okay at my end, but I just always want to check. I'm always nervous that I'll be talking to myself for about half an hour and with no audio. Right, so just let me know if you can hear me. Uh, right, what I want to cover in this tutorial, we'll do a quick refresher of how to like plan out like a map and your basic kind of coastline and mountain techniques, but I want to concentrate on maybe how to do forest in this tutorial. So I'm using a new mixed media paper. It's kind of less kind of grainy, but it's actually a lot heavier. It's about 20% heavier than the other paper I'm using. So I'm trying it out. Just so it happens that I could get it. So let's start with planning our coastline. And let's do an island this time. So it doesn't really matter what shape it is. You're going to define it as you kind of come to your coastline. You're going to redefine the shape of it. So that's our basic layout for our island, and let's place a few mountains. Let me see. I think I want to have like a river flowing from here. So let's have a main river coming out there, and then we'll have like some sort of mountains going up like that. So as you can see, I don't put too much effort into deciding where these mountains are going just yet. Like there are a few different ways you can do your mountains. You can like plan like a ridge line that's going to go down. I think I covered that last time. I'm going to use the method I'm using for here's a little sneaky peek map I'm working on. So this sort of mountain like that. So like you're kind of standalone, and then I want to wrap forest around it. So that's the sort of thing I want to cover in this, but particularly the different methods of doing your trees. So right, I think I'm happy enough with that. We're going to just do some basic coastline. I want this mountain here to pop up a little bit more above the coastline. I'm going to use 0.3 for this here. So let's just have a defining kind of edge like this. So I'm going to just almost like I would do my coastline. I'm kind of like, but I don't want too many edges leaning out over like that. I don't want too many overhangs. This is probably as steep as I want to go, and then I'm going to go back down again like this. But it's important to have these little points here like this. So, and we'll do it again with a few more. think I'm happy with that. I don't want to do. You know what? Let's do the lot. And then we kind of cover this gap with one here like that. So there are lots of ways of doing mountains. I've covered other ones in the past. And then we'll finish off with one large one here. Okay. So how we're going to let's make sure we get all our rivers first, because I like a double lined river. So we could have a river kind of tuck in here behind that mountain. Let's create a little bit of a. Can we have a river going in like that as well? And so this river is kind of going into these mountains, and then it can fork like this and go in behind like so. And then we're going to put lots of forest in here. So I'll give you a flavor of how these mountains are going to look. I'm just going to take like a point that's sticking out, and I'm going to just bring a line in. Maybe that line is going to come in and connect to that one. Same up here, that one kind of comes in and it can go in different directions. Then this one here kind of goes off like this and maybe forms a little plateau. So something like that. So I'm very much free form, but single line, kind of trying to get some definition there. All right. No. Right. And the same on this side here. And then we connect them with some vertical lines, maybe some V-shaped lines like that as well. This one here just wants to go down like that. And then some just small little lines like that. Oh, and the bottom we want to leave a big gap because we're going to fill that with trees. Okay, next. Our coastline. So you notice I've done the mountains, anything with kind of high elevation before the coastline. I'm going to go up to 0.3 again. And again, just you want a little bit of character to the shape of the coastline. And at this point we can show in a few islands here as well. So what I'm doing is I'm allowing my hand just kind of maneuver around so that it has a little bit of definition like this. So that if you zoom in on that space there, that you have another interesting landmass that kind of when you blow it up, each kind of like, that you can zoom in again on that. It's like you want it as fractal as possible. Not fractal, but you want that sort of fractally kind of character to it. And a few forks as well, like a few peninsulas. Right, so I've left a gap here and a gap here for where my river is coming in. And then I have another river here as well. And you might, this looks like it's kind of, there's very kind of stormy waters all around it, like that. It's kind of, the coast is quite jagged, but you could have like certain sections that can like, that kind of go smooth like this. And then you could have like over the other side, you could have, this could be the extremely stormy coast, make it like the coast of Norway or something like this. Just a little bit of variety. Again, you can make it up as you go along. Now this, okay, yeah, we'll continue this around here. Now, the main thing I want to introduce is doing individual trees for your forest. So let me see, just my 0 point. Oh, don't tell me it's mixed in with these ones. Okay, we just have to use this. Okay, actually what we're going to do is I'm going to flip this over and I'll do a larger version of each of the trees that you can then basically shrink down that technique. So first off, I'll just, you know, instead of a larger version, I am going to bring the camera closer to the page, and then we will go through various different trees that we can use. Right, I need to draw something here so that I have something to focus on, because it's all just completely white. Okay, so we have just kind of a regular tree like this. So it's getting super close. And let's see if we can focus on that as best we can. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's not bad. Okay. I hope this is clear, right? So, various different tree types. Right, we have, I think I covered this last time, and that is you can basically include your forest all together like a little cloud like this, and then just add your trunks at the bottom like this, and then maybe just a little bit of shading the base of the tree like that, because that's the darkest part of the forest. And a few little bits like that. Okay, that's if you're in a hurry. We're not in a hurry, so we're going to do some individual trees. In fact, that's really what I want to cover. So the basic individual tree, you can do a little circle, 2 of those, and you just keep building those up. And then, oh yeah, okay, that's a very straight line. I like to try and move up and down so it's not as uniform. And then maybe move up this way. I'd normally have it planned, you know, advanced. This is going to be my forest, and then fill it in. So, and as we move upwards, all you're going to do is you're going to do each circle up on top, like so, peeking over. Very simple method. Now, before I get into shading these, because you can leave them like that if you like, if you're happy with that sort of method, you can also use different kind of shaped trees for this method. You can even go with stylized. This is one you might see Maps by Owen doing. Actually, he would use basically. Actually, does he put a little trunk at the bottom? I am not certain if I want to put a little trunk at the bottom. So you can do this, and you just kind of finish it off like so. And very important, if you want to kind of get kind of a natural tree like shape, is to leave a break in the tree line. And then can join back up again. Now, I don't use these sort of stylized trees so often. If I am doing these sort of trees, I might do a little bit of that sort of shape, and then I just go tree trunk at the bottom. So it's a few little extra steps. It's not as fast, but I think it gives a little bit more shape to your tree. Now let's go to a bit of shading for these sort of trees. Actually, I'm going to do two versions of this one here because there's two different. Actually, you know what? I'll do one different shading method on this one and a different shading on this one. So, first method of shading is straight lines going across like so, and you can do them on one side or the other. This is the slowest part, and it's the part that you'll want to kind of get over and done with quickest, but try resist that. Try resist your impatience and allow yourself to get into the zone, because then you start getting the benefit of the mindfulness of doing a repetitive task, and your brain just kind of floats away and you're actually exploring a little forest. So if you can imagine filling a whole page with that. For example, if you're filling a whole page like this, that's not quite filling a page, but it took a while. So second method for these sort of trees, and I'm going to do it outside. I'll do a larger version here, and I'm going with the contour of the tree here, and I'm just building up shading like that. And that's what I'm going to do on a smaller scale. I'm just going on one side of the tree. Now at this point, I probably would do the shading at the same time as I do the tree itself, and probably use the same size pen. But if you were undecided whether or not you wanted shading, you want to leave it to afterwards, this is how you could do it, but you're more likely to miss a tree that way. So, and then for the trunks, I would just do a few lines going down like that. All right, so let me show you another version. That is, I think you'll need like a big, this is like a 1.0, this is a thick pen. Not sure if this will, so just at the very base, the tree going around like this. This isn't one that I really use often at all, but some people might like it. It's very stylized. So, other little flourishes that you can do. You can, if you come off at an angle, so that the dark side is on this side, so sun is kind of coming down here, and especially for something like this, you can just do the shadows of the tree trunks passing through the trees like this. That adds a nice little effect. And you could possibly do it on these ones here, but what I would tend to do is just to kind of like the ground coming off. Sometimes maybe a few pieces of grass like that. And that just kind of draws you to the base of the trees. You're kind of you feel like you're wandering around. You feel like that there's texture on the ground itself. Yeah, you can.
Oh, look at this. This is why I don't use these thick pens very often, and that method is because they smudge.
So you need to be super careful about that. Right, so there's a few other methods. That is, you can do like this sort of forest here. So actually you can do like a line going down and then just, so we have our evergreen forest. And you just build it up. Again, not in a rush. So I'm not a big fan of this one. I tend to go for either this one or this one. In fact, this is the one I'm using on this other map. So I'm incorporating the kind of the shading with the kind of the texture of the leaves, and then I just sweep in and do my little tree trunk like that. And if you allow yourself to be disciplined, these build up well on top of each other, and so you can populate a huge area with a lot of these trees, and they you can pick out each tree. They don't just kind of blend into each other, so you get the feel for a large area and that it contains lots of trees. Whereas with these ones, they kind of tend to just bleed into each other, and it just looks like a scribble. So what is nice is a mixture of these ones and these ones. If you wanted like mixed forest, so you have like this forest here, and then you have just certain sections with that sort of forest, and then it kind of breaks into this sort of forest again. Like so. Okay, so a few larger trees. Okay, let's go through these and just so we're kind of covering them. I'll go through each one again, but I'll do it a little bit larger. So we have number one. We've got our circle tree, just with a little tree trunk, and a few lines going down like so. So that's number one. Obviously, I wouldn't use this method to make a tree kind of full size like this. It's just I'm exploding it for visual purposes. Number two, we've got a little cloud. And then build up the shading for each one like this. Now this one scales nicely. You can actually use this one for bigger trees, especially if you can like properly build that one up, and then you can just add a few little textures like that. So number 3 is, and I'm going to include these two together. So you and then we jump in with our thick pen. Number 4 is your simple. So that's number 3, 4. And number 5. This is your, oh yeah, sorry. 5 is this one here. And then this is 6. So 5 is just your basic shape like this. Basic Christmas tree shape. Okay, so we all need to know this one for celebrating Christmas. Number 6, it's the same again, but actually I tend to go, I'll go up like this, and then I'll go down like that, and then I'll finish off like that. So I'll go up, down, I'll do my and obviously it doesn't scale great, but it looks well. And I will tend to finish off the tree at the bottom like that, just so you see the definition of each tree as it kind of gets a little bit bigger. As the forest gets a little bit bigger. Okay. Now, number 2 can be expanded upon. It can be made, if you want like one large tree in the center of your landscape, you can create your large tree like this. Have your branches kind of going out like so, and then just use the same method again. It might be nice to kind of rotate so you get the curve of your pen like this, and you don't want to kind of hurt your wrist, so you're just getting a little curve like this, and just build it up. But then you're getting a little bit lighter as you go further towards your light source, and finish those ones off. And then let's create a little bit more definition over here. Okay, so it's just about building up the making sure that you have like nice thick black here, and then it gets lighter and lighter, and then so you have your source of light coming that way. Then for this, I'm just going to use the side of my pen and just get a little bit of texture on the tree trunk. Let's put some. And so I might use that one for if I'm doing an elevated city, but it's very much a blown up version of that one there, which is a blown up version of that one there. It's all very much the same technique. Obviously, you're going to add extra elements as you kind of get larger. But I might also use this one here for your your large earth tree. So you might have like a mountain kind of coming up beside it like this. So it's and then surround it by further forest. So you kind of get an idea of the size of it. Yeah, I've done plenty of large trees like this. They're always a favorite. Right, so let's translate it onto our other map. So obviously I'm going to do, it's not necessarily obvious, but I'm going to do my trees before I fill out. I probably went a bit too many details here, but I can always cover over some of these details with trees. But especially like if I hadn't planned to do forest up here, but if I wanted a line of forest here, I would do the forest before I do the coastline so that it's sticking up. And I just think it kind of creates that little 3D element. So I'm using the putty rubber here because it doesn't damage the page, or it doesn't kind of lift the ink as much. And I'm also using a 2H pencil that counterintuitively lifts easier off the edge of it. So it lifts easier off the page than your softer pencils. Right, okay, we have a river coming in here. We're not too concerned about that for now. Now, I also, if you can get away with it, don't pencil anything. Just know where everything is. Do a sketch, and if you have a light board, you can use your sketch underneath. And then you just know where to place everything. But if you don't have a light board, you need to do a sketch. Or sorry, you need to pencil onto your page or wing it. First, I have to take a sip of tea. Right, so we want trees all over this area here. So, like obviously, if you have a pencil, you're going to plan it out. Okay, so this is where our forest is going to go, and use the mountains. You want them sticking out of the mountain like this. So you have this as your edge of the mountain, and that's where your tree line is going to. It's going to come up to like this. You're going to go down, then it's come to here, and then have a few trees going behind the mountain. That just gives it a little bit of a depth to your forest. So I don't start up here. Like you could start your forest and do the top of your trees like this, but I recommend starting down here. It just, you have a little bit more control over it. So anything that has tree trunks, anything that's you're gonna see the tree trunks, you want to put that line of trees down first. So as I said, it's slow, but you can follow along with me and practice. Just like the hatching techniques for dungeons, it's something that you just need to take your time at. Work your way through it. Right, I'm not going to go all the way this way. I'm going to just showcase how it hugs this mountain here. I think actually, you know, this river is going to be, yeah, okay, you know what, let's just do this. So now, so you can do a little scribble up like that, or you can like scribble the shading like that, or you can do a few separate strokes. But make sure that you don't come out over on top unless you plan to create a clearing, which we will do now. And just make a little break in the trees. Makes the forest look a little bit more natural. So now again, we're going just behind the mountain like this. Enough that it just adds kind of height to the mountain, makes it look like, okay, this forest going all the way around. We won't necessarily see all of the forest, but it's what that tells you is that there is forest all the way behind it, and that's all you need. It's not necessarily about the showing everything. You can do a complete top-down map for that. But for a fantasy map, like these sort of mountains, ones that kind of like pop out of the ground, tend to work a little bit better. Just draw you into the map a little bit. We might try, okay, I know I've started one here, we can have a mixed forest here. So, for this, I'm just going to start with 0.003, so I get a little bit more definition. So I'm just going up like that, and then a few down, and then I do the trunk. So just go up, down. Oh, there is one tree that I forgot, one type of tree that I forgot, and that is, let's go number 7. It is the, you go up, down, and then you do a W shape. Up, down, W shape. Or sorry, not W, yeah, M shape, like a little bird flying. So, and you want this one to come down a little bit more. And this is for doing lots and lots of trees. and you're just in a little hurry. Now, big doesn't look so hot. Do them small, and you can get away with it. Quick and easy trees. So that's the final, well, not the final, there are so many different methods, but that's just like a quick evergreen tree that you can do. So what happens is you'll get into a flow where you're doing them automatically. Wherever your pen hits, a tree appears. You get into a flow, but you need to be careful that you don't end up, you know, that you're over here, you're making them this big, and then you're over here, and then suddenly they're this big, and you look back at your original one. Try and maintain consistency. Unless, this is great for if you wanted that kind of depth perception, you wanted to have trees in the foreground and going off into the background. But I don't think I would use this method for that sort of tree. I think I would use something more akin to this. So we're going to continue with this method here for our next forest. With this one here, you'll get into a flow as well. Not as fast though. And creating breaks as well as varying the spacing between your trees. This helps to make like a more organic forest. So see that there's like breaks here. You have little places where, you know, well-trodden paths, and you exaggerate. Have some solo little copses and individual trees. Have your forest kind of like break up and kind of come off and then peter off. Have spots where, sorry, this is completely out of focus. Create spots where it's a little bit sparser. I imagine that like this could be a way that you could travel through here. This is a way that you could travel through here. I'm not going to tell you too much about this map here, only for the fact that it has guns on it, but that's all I can say about this one. So at this point I would actually, if I had any messages in the chat, I would answer those, but seeing as I don't have any messages in chat, I'm hoping that there hasn't been any technical glitches this time around. Last month the power of the whole neighborhood just went, and unfortunately the video wasn't saved, so whoever turned up for that one got their tutorial, but it didn't save on YouTube. Unfortunately, the whole video was deleted. But I'm going to end it before the power fails now. Okay, thanks for joining my stream, and from next month I'm going to, in the new year, I'm going to continue with allowing heroes, possibly adventurers, for choosing the topic of the tutorial streams and choosing the date, but I'm going to open it up to the public, and I'm just going to do public, or maybe just yeah, I'll think about that. I was thinking I'm going to open it up to the public just because I had planned to do that eventually. So that will be from next month. So more people, there should be more people in the stream, and more suggestions.